definitely. Because I've interviewed a lot of technicians in my previous videos, and they all express the same thing, that they have to be trained in how to have the actual part fitted, right? And knowing that they have to do it in a safe, very safe manner, and their what do you call it now? Their career is actually is on it,
Of course.
because when they're working on that vehicle, so to speak, right? You don't know who is actually driving that car, whether it's someone's daughter, someone's children, wife, even a husband, or it's a family-oriented vehicle. So every vehicle has to be taken into consideration where safety is concerned, and that is where the dealership and most shops, so to speak, try to take pride in ensuring that safety is first and paramount, right? And that is why technicians get trained.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The benefit of going back to a dealership setting is that technician, what he's been trained on is your car. He's been trained on that type of vehicle. He's been qualified to work on that type of vehicle. You go into a independent shop, they're working on every type of vehicle on the road. So you kind of have to have a mindset in, okay, if I'm going to this independent shop, he might not know completely everything about my vehicle or how my vehicle reacts, because he's working on every vehicle on the road. It's impossible for anybody to know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So those are the benefits of going back to the dealership and saying, hey, I know the guy that's going to be touching my car. This is what he does day in and day out. And when I leave here, I know I'm leaving with my car being safe, and I can have my family back in the vehicle because I'm at a whatever manufacturer dealerships that I'm at.
Yeah, definitely. But let's speak more about your career itself. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced while working in the industry?
In the industry, I spent, I would say, my majority of time in parts.
Okay.
The reason for that is I felt parts is just like the heartbeat is what I felt. And I still feel that way. That in every department, anything and everything flows through parts. And if you look at how it's situated in a dealership format, they kind of take parts and they throw it at the back of the dealership.
Oh yeah, the parts department is always taken advantage of. It's the department that no one looks at, and they don't because a lot of people, they're ignorant to the process that takes place in the parts department. I know because I'm speaking from experience, right? But every dealership I've been through, it's the same thing. But at the same time, they don't understand that most, if not all, and the biggest profit actually comes from parts.
You're absolutely right. If you look at simple examples, if you look at your expense for service, you have technicians, you have service advisors, you have valet drivers, you have your demo vehicles, you have your valet vehicles, you have the overall expenses of tools in the shop, the airlines, the hose, all those kind of things. So service expense is tremendous.
Yeah, it is always high.
Right?
Yeah.
Their GP level is about 75% of the dealership, but it's only that high because their expense is that high.
Mm-hmm.
You look at parts expense, the most expense you're going to have in parts is your inventory.
Yeah, the holding cost. Yeah.
That's right. It's not your employees that you have in there, because the majority of dealerships will have maybe 2 to 3 parts personnel and a manager, or maybe in my case, it's myself and somebody else. So right now we're running on 2. So in that type of situation, your expense for salary is not much. Your expense for inventory, your holding expense is where your money is, but that's also where your profit is.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's your profit in the dealership is where you're trying to hold a 30% profit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're trying to hold. That's what the industry market right now. Everybody's shooting for the 35% rating. It's very tough.
Yeah. And I know it's tough for North America, but in some regions, the gross profit is as much as 48%. That's how high
right?
it is. Yeah. That's how high it can be, between
And
45,
you can do that.
48%. Yeah.
Of course, you can do that in certain regions where you're the only one. When you come into a major city, as I am
Yes.
right now, you
Yes.
come into a
Yes.
major
You are
city
correct. Yeah.
where there is five competing dealerships within maybe a 20-minute radius from you,
Yeah.
your margins drop tremendously
Tremendously. Yeah. Yeah.
because you're constantly competing. Customers are constantly doing that. You're constantly competing because you want the customers to come back to you. And it gets to a point where it's not, you can't just, okay, this is what I try to do. It's not trying to get the best price. It's trying to get the best service. You have to get them to trust you. You have to get them to understand that anytime you come to me, I might not give you the best price, but I'm going to give you the correct part that's going to fix your car. I'm going to give you the best experience. I might give you something a little extra, or ask you how are you getting it done, where you're getting it done, and bring them into the dealership in a way where if you have this part that you're just buying at the front counter and you're taking it somewhere else to have it installed, why not have it installed by a licensed technician?
Yeah.
Why not have it installed at our place? What's the reason? And a lot of times, I think front counter parts advisors are very hesitant. They're very scared to ask certain questions. They're
Yeah.
they're like, oh, the guy's gonna get upset. No, he's not gonna get upset.
No.
He's gonna start thinking, you know what, this guy is right. I'm here already. If I'm able to give him a 10% on it, forget the 10% that you're losing, but imagine the customer retention and what you're doing for that customer that's going to make him tell his neighbor and the other neighbor and the other neighbor
Mm-hmm.
on his street and be like, listen, I went here and these guys are so great and I bought this part and I was going to leave, but then they told me, hey, I can get it installed. I get a 10% off. They installed it correctly. I didn't
Yeah.
have to guess. And I was good.
Yeah, because and that's where experience comes in, because a lot of people don't know how to build customer relations. That's basically what it boils down to. Customer relations actually leads to customer retention. Customer
That's it.
retention increases your customer service index. Customer service index actually, when that increases, then it transforms into your absorption rate, which again is more profitability for the business. But
That's right.
not a lot of people at our level will understand what transcends
But I'm glad you're
in the
doing
dealership.
something
Yeah.
like this. I'm glad you're doing something like this to show everybody that this is how they should start thinking about this. It's not just, oh, that's the parts guy at the back. It's, wait a second, that's the guy that's making a lot of money for the dealership. That's the guy that's going to help me. That's the guy that's taking care of all the accounting issues, the service issues, the technician issues, the sales issues, the accessories issue. Like, so it's not just, oh, that's just the parts guy.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're doing this to show people out there that it shouldn't be just looked at that. It should be somewhere where if you're in the industry and you're in parts, you should be proud.
Yeah.
And you should be happy that this industry, as much as they try to take over everything with computers and they try to take over everything with robots, this is an industry that you're not going to be able to replace the physical people there. They might try, and maybe that's the directions we're going in, but they might try. But I just feel it's going to be a long time before they.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very long time, because not everyone can cover all aspects of what a dealership actually handles, right? So it's very difficult. You can go on a site and look for a car and try to buy, but at the end of the day, you have to deal with someone who is actually going to give you the correct car, because you don't know what you're buying when you're looking at a screen. Absolutely not. You need to go somewhere and look at the vehicle physically, right? And then you have to have a technician to, whether it's a precondition, the used car or something off the lot, right? You need a technician to actually go through the car and say, yes, it's good to go, right?
Right.
So you need that aspect of it. So, like I said, thank you very much, because this is one of the reasons why I actually have this show, for persons to understand exactly what takes place within a dealership setting, not only a dealership but also a small garage, what their experiences are, right? And even the person who operates from his own home, he can actually tell you exactly what ramifications there is when dealing with with your motor vehicle itself. So everyone within the industry actually plays their part, right? So
Yeah.
on that note, what I wanted to ask you, my next question is, what would be some of your suggestions for dealerships and garages on a wider scale going forward?